Thank you for trying out the divers. And I'm going to go through some of these features. Each of these divers, we have 8 divers in total. Diverse selection here, both body types and gender as well. And each one has a particle system with bubbles coming out the top, which you can fully control. I haven't gone through and created any character blueprints, but I do have a blueprint for each of the characters, which you can select the different animations and, of course, convert the blueprints to character blueprints that you want. I put all the main materials that are shared materials here. These are flippers and gauges and masks, and you can, of course, create your own assets and pop them in there for those if you want to. All the textures are here. These are all the shared textures, both for the environment as well as the map assets, the texture assets for the materials. The map is located here in the map folder, the sequence there if you'd like to look at that. But each one of these characters has a set of animations. There's an animation with everything on it. They're named _ALL all for that one. Double click on that animation sequence. All the animations here are the 4 animations pulled together, but also we have the individual animations here as well. The swimming animation, the diving, the sitting and idle, and all separated out, many of those being cyclable. The blueprint is here, and also the materials and textures are also here for the material that is for this asset and this asset alone. So all the shared assets have the materials in their own folder, in one folder. Their materials that are specific to these assets are in their own folder by themselves. The physics assets have been set up to handle their this one here. Sorry, turn this on to selected. There we go. So they should fall pretty well on their own. And they have all been wrapped up into a blueprint here. And I kept the blueprint together for all of these because I'm using a common vest, a diving vest, that I've just simply morphed to match the different body types. So, and also adding the emitter too for the particles. So the particle emitters here, which we'll get to in a second. So it's using the sockets, the head as a socket for the effects test bubbles. And the morph target here has been set to, you can control the morph target to control the tank accessory blending. Sometimes there's just a bit of fitting for the tank accessories, and each one has its own various sets of the those controls. So when you click on the asset, you'll see in here you have a control for the morph target. And in gameplay, this has just been set to usually be 1 during gameplay. And you can pick out the animation sequences here. So this one here has a set of an animation picker here, which gives you the ability to change that animation here. The gameplay, and of course you can use your own gameplay blueprint animation. The particle system affects bubbles here. If we go to that particle, little scalar mesh right there as well too, with a that has a in the material, which is the material bubble. Pop that open too. This bubble simply has a moving texture sample here, which is a noise pattern that's simply panned upward at speed of -1 so that there's a rippling effect. Hardly can't see it on here, but if you click on the small bubble here and just go to that, show that particle. If you move in closer, you see that there's a bit of wiggling that the bubble does, and you can increase that with a multiply here. Let's just turn on. Get rid of that guy. This multiply a value here. Can adjust that. And also can play a little bit with the fall off, which is a Fresnel fall off here, just to change the quality of the bubble, how much fall off there is on the bubbles. And the effect is here. Just pop this up to big screen. And zoom in. So the emitter states are pretty much emitting continuously, which is set to spawn rate here. You can set the spawn rate any way you want to, but going with an amplitude of 6, I think, on the spawn rate. I'm using a phase waveform, so it looks like there's a bit of breathing that goes on. So it's not a continuous spawn rate. It kind of breathes in and out. And these waveforms you can adjust to have it do more longer breaths and shorter breaths. The combination of, I believe, 3 different waveforms to make that kind of breathing effect. And also here under the, so that I'm killing the particles at a certain plane volume. This volume here is set to a plane normal is set to the Z one direction, which is vertical. Sorry, it's a horizontal plane, so it's using the Z up axis. And the volume origin is set to -10. With a scale, it's a plane. You can adjust the origin offset as well here too, if you want to have the bubbles go up above the water line. If you want to change your water line level, you can change that as well. But that's kind of where the volume particles, if you go back here, you can see these are all stopping. The bubbles stop at the ground plane essentially, or the water level. But you can adjust that by going into that FXS bubbles, going to the kill particle volume, and changing this volume origin. I think -10 is probably killing it right before the top of the plane, so you can make this a 0 if you wanted to. But that adjustment right there will allow you some flexibility there.